Today I'm headed out on a winter training hike. One of my goals for this season is to build on my winter mountain skills. Every year I like to create new goals for myself. I guess you could call them resolutions. In 2016 I made a resolution that changed my life, and it has a lot to do with everything I'm doing today. Just one small, approachable goal opened up a whole new side of me, a whole new world. Entering into the year 2016, I made a resolution that would challenge me in an approachable way. Little did I know that following through with this resolution would change my whole life. In the spring of 2016, I went on a hike in the Grand Canyon. I got about halfway down before having to turn around, and I had this deep curiosity to know what it would be like if I could just keep going, if I could stay overnight. My curiosity grew greater than my fear, and I decided to explore the idea of doing that. When I got home from that trip, I actually got really sick, and I was laid up in bed for a couple of weeks, and during that time, it occurred to me to check to see if maybe there were YouTube videos about people hiking in the Grand Canyon. And I watched a bunch of those, and then I decided to see if there were videos on this other trail that sort of ran through my backyard, the Pacific Crest Trail. Well, I did find some videos on that, and at the time, the videos that I watched were really long shots showing the landscape, and I was grateful for that because it showed me the environment in a way that made me feel safe about going to explore, because I wasn't seeing anything that I didn't feel capable of doing. Well, I got better, and that ambition got put on the back burner for a little while, but come time for 2016, I made a New Year's resolution. I set the goal of doing one hike per month at a place that I had never been to before. You see, I was already kind of a hiker. I made vacations around hiking. Even a couple of times I pulled groups of friends together and took them out on a hike at this local trail that I had been hiking since high school. But I wasn't exploring new places very often. And so I set that challenge for myself. On January 17th of 2016, I headed out to Warner Springs, California along the Pacific Crest Trail. Was supposed to be headed southbound for 3 miles to a destination called Eagle Rock. Well, 6 miles later, my then husband and I had still not come to the Eagle Rock, and so we turned around, and he said to me that I had no business being out there if I didn't know what I was doing. And it was harsh, but it was also kind of right, and it really inspired me to start learning more about the outdoors, not just have this commitment to go do the hike, but to know what I was doing. So I got home and I looked at a map and figured out what had gone wrong, and that was in fact that we had headed northbound along the PCT instead of southbound. So the next weekend, after I had posted some photos and videos of our hike on Facebook, I went out with some more people. Family members actually were interested in joining along. The Pacific Crest Trail had been popularized by the book Wild, and so it was something that a lot of us were interested in exploring, and so I invited them to come along, and this time we headed in the right direction and we made it to Eagle Rock. Well, because there was interest, I started a Facebook group for friends and family members called The Hiking Connection, where we could exchange ideas and learn. And every month I planned a section hike of the Pacific Crest Trail. The first 100 miles, I pulled out maps and I Google Earthed it and figured out how to break it into day hike segments because we weren't yet backpackers. And that was an undertaking, and that's how this YouTube channel started, is with those hikes. I had made videos of hikes before, but I kind of wanted to document this journey that I was going on. And so through that I learned how to plan a trip. I learned about the 10 essentials, and that's kind of where it all started. After several months of doing hikes of progressively longer segments of the PCT, we were ready to try backpacking. So in June 2016, 3 of us set out on our first overnight trip together, and I was hooked. I think back to what used to be a challenge for me then, what was pushing me out of my comfort zone during that time, and the change is remarkable. I'm not going to say I never dreamed of doing the kind of things that I am doing now, because I absolutely did. It was very early on that I knew I wanted to progress to a point where I could do off-trail trips. That always inspired me so much. Not just getting out into the beauty of nature, but actually learning about how to be an outdoors woman. And I'm proud of how far I've come. And it all just started with one goal, one promise to myself that I fulfilled. So as we go into the new year, whatever it is that you have for yourself, make that commitment. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone and explore something new or a new part of yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to go somewhere necessarily. Sometimes we can't control all of that, but if you can push yourself towards your dreams, I think it's a very fulfilling thing.